Hi everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm glad to have you a part of the discussion. My name is Jim McKinnell. I am the director of the Office of Pre-Health Profession Student Development here at the University of New Mexico, and I'm here to help you achieve the health professions program of your dream. I had a chance to go back and look at the previous videos that I posted, and I want to make a couple of quick additions to both the second and third videos that I posted. In the second video, when I was talking about components of health professions application, one critical element that I totally omitted from the talk was the fact that most applications end with a personal statement, or they ask you in some way to write about your motivations for pursuing a career in the profession. In the medical school application, it's clearly the effort that's become known as the personal statement. So again, a big part of the application and something that we'll be talking about in a separate video. In the third video, I was talking about not taking repeating courses for grade replacement, and I'm standing by that. I really think that that's solid advice. But the rest of the story is that I also want to make sure that we understand that there are other options that we can also employ to help people understand how really competent we are in sciences. So for example, I had talked about getting a C in Gen Chem and doing well in your organic courses. And that strategy holds across the sciences. I think that anytime you haven't done very well in a lower level science course, rather than repeat the course for grade replacement, it's always a better strategy to think about taking a higher level course, a 300 or 400 level course in the same discipline, and with the goal of doing well in that. Because if you get an A in a 400 biology course, no one's going to care about that C+ that you got in your first or second 200 level biology course. So I just wanted to add those little additions to my previous videos. I'm trying to get better at this, and I think I've done well. You may have noticed that I added some cover art to the channel, and you may have also noticed that I have a bit of an unusual profile picture. That comes, unfortunately, because I look a lot like that guy. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the character, Mr. Friedrichsen from Up, we must be related, distantly related, or related in a previous life. In any case, some things you just have to embrace, and so that's one of those things that I'm willing to run with and say, yeah, okay. It's now my absolute go-to Halloween costume. So if you ever see a Mr. Friedrichsen wandering the streets, especially the streets of Albuquerque, come up and say hi. It's me. All right, so today what I want to do is I want to go back to the elements of the application, and I want to talk to you about work experiences. I mentioned before when I was talking about the elements that a lot of times we skip over work and the significance of work and how it contributes to our preparation for a career in healthcare. And I want to go back and spend more time with you talking about that today. Part of my motivation is I happened to be sitting in my office today with a young woman, and she was really concerned that she didn't have the right kind of work experiences and that her work experiences weren't going to be valued. And I asked her what she did, and she said, oh, I'm a nanny. And I'm going, are you serious? You don't think that nannying is really great preparation for a career in healthcare? And she shared with me that a lot of people undervalued her work experience. They didn't feel that it was worth very much because she worked in a home environment, and that somehow the fact that she wasn't in an office made it not a worthwhile work experience. So I need you guys to understand that every single job that you have ever had has in some way prepared you for a career in healthcare. That is so important for you to really believe and embrace. And we're going to talk about that more because I need you to understand exactly what I mean by that. First of all, the type of work is insignificant. The type of work, actually, a lot of times when we think about this, and as I said, along those lines of everything preparing you for a career in healthcare, the type of work is really irrelevant. You know, if you happen to, I talked about Dion's in one of my previous videos, our local pizza chain, and I mentioned that if you were working as a pepperoni slinger on the pizza assembly line, you're a part of a team. That's an important experience to understand that if you enter healthcare, you are always going to be working on a team. And any experiences that you have as working as a part of a team are really, really important and give you very, very valuable insights into optimal or effective team functioning. So that's so important for you to understand and really work on understanding. It's worth that effort, because the way you talk about your work experiences, you can help people. If you don't think that your work experience is related to healthcare, you're not going to be able to convince anyone that it is. And what I'm telling you is every work experience that you've had is related and is preparing you for a career in healthcare. So I want you to sort of jump on my bandwagon. Understand that, believe that, and work on talking about the work experiences you've had and the specific aspects of it that are preparing you for a career in healthcare. Part of it, any job that you've had, every employee you've ever had has always valued the fact that you're a good worker. What does that mean when we say we're a good worker? First of all, it means you show up. That's so important. You got to start there. And healthcare, it's critically important that you show up. You don't show up, there are people that are sick that don't get taken care of. So showing up is important. Knowing what your responsibilities are and being that person that completes your job, that you understand what your job is and you do that and you do it faithfully and religiously. That's also very, very valued in healthcare. There are other things. The young woman that I was talking to today, that's the nanny. I sat there going, really? So people don't think that childcare, that sort of understanding the real challenges in taking care of a child, not for an hour or two. This isn't babysitting. This is taking care of a child for 8, 10, 12 hours, 24 hours a day if you're a live-in nanny. And you do that for day after day after day after day. You don't understand the stresses that are associated with that. You don't understand the real responsibilities that are associated with that. They're so similar to the kinds of responsibilities that we're handed as healthcare providers. So that's very, very important. I want you to think about every job that you've had, and I want you to begin to try and understand the different elements. What made you a good worker in that job, and what are you going to bring? What aspects of that are you bringing into healthcare? Have you done retail? I was talking to another person today and said, oh yeah, I worked as a barista in Starbucks. It's like, oh my God, that's such a stressful environment to work in. I occasionally pop into Starbucks and watching those guys work, especially when it's busy, and knowing how organized they have to be and knowing how they have to, in the face of pressure, and sometimes you have irate customers, and you have to deal with them and you still have to work effectively and produce a product. That is incredible preparation for the kinds of stress. If you've worked in a high-stress environment, that's incredibly good preparation for a career in healthcare. It's incredibly good preparation for medical school. And then, any retail, anytime you interface with the public, that's your life in healthcare. You're not going to be talking to your colleagues all day long. You're going to be talking to people that you've never met. You're going to be talking to people that come to you for a service. It's so much like retail, and the challenges that you face in retail, every once in a while, that customer that you can't understand, that's mad at you, that you have to diffuse that anger and sort of move on so that you can help them. Welcome to healthcare. So that's what I'm saying. These kinds of experiences that you have that you think aren't related to being successful or pursuing in a career in healthcare, they have totally contributed to your preparation to be a really great healthcare provider. The other thing I want you to know, and that's also really, really important to include in your application, is whether you've worked while you're in school. I know that I don't know where you're coming from, but I know that a lot of students that I work with here at the University of New Mexico work during their undergraduate years. And it's not uncommon for me to hear stories of undergraduate students working 20 or 30 hours a week while they're in school. Well, I got to tell you, I was fortunate. I was privileged. When I was in college, my family felt very strongly. My parents felt very strongly about me not working. And they provided for me so that I didn't have to work. They really wanted me to sort of be able to concentrate on my studies. Looking back now, I'm a little bit ashamed because, frankly, I didn't do that. And I only now realizing the sacrifices, the opportunities that they gave me that I really didn't take advantage of. And I wish I had my parents here to sort of apologize for that. But if you've had that opportunity, that's extraordinary. You have had the chance to come to college and pursue your educational goals with no other distractions. That isn't the case with a lot of medical students, with a lot of pre-med students or pre-health profession students. So if you're doing your undergraduate work, and during your undergraduate time, you have had to work those 20 or 30 hours a week, those are 20 or 30 hours a week that you have not had available to study. So regardless of the time of work that you're doing, you're running the cash register at a fast food place, you can't sit down and you cannot do your organic chemistry. And people need to know that. So if you pull down a 3.5 or a 3.6 and you're going, oh my gosh, I could have done better, and my friends, my other pre-med friends, they all have 3.7s or 3.8s or that kind of stuff, don't worry about that. I don't want you to compare yourself to other people, because you have to sort of be aware of your own circumstances. So that 3.5 or 3.6 that you accomplished in the face of working for 30 hours a week on top of that is extraordinary. You need to understand that. You need to really, as I said, embrace that idea as well. And you need to share that. People need to know what the obstacles that you've faced. That speaks so much to your ability to manage time, to remain focused, and to really commit to this profession, that healthcare profession that you desire. You've really committed to that in an incredibly unimaginable almost way, in the sense of understanding the academic challenges and choosing to pursue those in the face of also knowing that you have work responsibilities that you have to do in order to meet your basic survival needs. And that is the case for many of the students that I work with. So working is very, very important. Don't skip over that when it comes to that point, or when on any of your applications where they ask for experiences that you've had that have prepared you for your career in healthcare. Never skip over work experience. As I said, every single work experience that you've ever had has in some way prepared you for a career in healthcare. I believe that, and I need you to believe that too. Please continue. It's great having a chance to talk to you. I hope that you tell your friends about this. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have any comments or questions for me, please enter those in the comments section, and I'll try and incorporate those in a future video. I look forward to seeing you again. I also want to thank you all. For those of you who have subscribed, I made it over that magic 100 hump that YouTube has. So I'm an official YouTube channel now. I'm very grateful for that, and I'm excited to continue to have the opportunity to talk with you. Give me some ideas of the kinds of chats that you'd like to have. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to talking to you again. Jim McKinnell signing off. Thanks, guys.